Right. Ooh, looks like we're good to go. Okay. I believe we are recording, so I will start our meeting this evening. So welcome everyone to the Town of Aurora Committee of Adjustment meeting for October the 13th, 2022. I apologize for the slight late start this evening. We were hopefully being joined by another member of the committee who unfortunately was not able to join with us this evening. So we do have quorum and call the meeting to order. And first, I would like to start with a land acknowledgement as follows. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty number 20 territories of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the land and waters of the territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands. And as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923, a shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. I will start by introducing members of the committee and staff. I am the committee chair, and my name is Tom Plamondon. The remaining members are as follows. Daniel Lajeunesse is the vice chair and away. Steve D'Angeli is with us. Linda Deringer is also with us this evening. And David Mango is out of the country at this time. So having three members of the committee, we do have quorum. The secretary treasurer is Peter Fan, and the planner this evening is Sean Lapina. The council committee coordinator is Linda Bottas. The director of planning and development is Marco Ramuno, who is not with us this evening. This public meeting is being audio and video recorded. It is also being conducted virtually through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded in accordance with the Municipal Act and Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions about this collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the Town of Aurora website and through staff at the town's planning department. Should you wish to receive notification of any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through town staff. Owners and agents will automatically be notified. For each application that will be considered tonight, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the application or applications, and then the applicant or agent will then be given an opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Presentations and deputations are limited to 5 minutes as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have an interest in the application to come forward to address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the secretary treasurer Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the appropriate form, again available through the Secretary Treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting and that they will not be noted in any manner at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, no further presentations shall be made. If you require any technical assistance with your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following this meeting on a YouTube feed, you will need to turn this feed off and join the live meeting, as there is a slight lag between the YouTube feed and the live feed. Please ensure that all questions and or comments are directed through me as chair. And if relevant, I will request the appropriate person respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any question or comments should the committee feel that it is appropriate. So with that, I will look to the members of the committee to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting as circulated by the Secretary Treasurer. Steve, yes, see your hand up there. Please go right ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as previously circulated to committee and staff.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Linda. I have a feeling we'll be seeing that duo many times throughout the meeting this evening. Thank you. And all of us in favor, of course. And of course, that will carry. I'll ask then if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof for any items on the agenda. She's seeing all heads shaking. No. Terrific. And I'll look to the committee for approval of the minutes of our meeting on September the 8th, 2022, being meeting number 2209 with one addition. And the addition would be that those minutes were moved by David Mango and seconded by Steve D'Angeli. It wasn't noted on the copy that I received, and that was carried. So with that one adjustment, I'll ask for a mover on those minutes. Steve, please.
Thank you. Once again, through you, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes for September 8th, 2022. That would be meeting number 22-09, as previously circulated and with the amendment that you have just mentioned.
Thank you. And Linda, you were not at that meeting, so I am going to second that motion and call a question. All those in favor? All right. And yep. So that's been noted and carried. So we now move to the presentations for this evening's meeting. And I will switch computers here. Okay, so the first item this evening is a minor variance application for 174 Corner Ridge Road. And the name on the application there is Dunn. This is minor variance MV 2022-35. The owner applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to permit an in-ground pool with a decreased side yard setbacks. The following relief is being requested. A, section 4.12 of the zoning bylaw requires in-ground pools shall be set back a minimum of 1.2 meters from the rear and side lot lines. The applicant is proposing an in-ground pool which is 0.9 meters to the side lot line. The proposal is for a pool enclosure permit application was applied for and issued by the building department. The in-ground pool proposed was shown to be in compliance with the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended on the pool enclosure permit. Upon final inspection, it was identified that the in-ground pool was built not in compliance with the town zoning bylaw. Planning comments are as follows. With regards to the proposed variance being generally in meeting the intent, of the official plan, staff are of the opinion that the intent of the official plan is being maintained. With regards to the variance meeting the general intent of the zoning bylaw, worth noting here, the engineering division has identified that the site plan shows the built pool's water edge encroaching approximately 0.286 meters into an existing 1.2 meter wide town sewer easement. Engineering staff have provided conditions should the minor variance application be approved by the committee. Planning staff are of the opinion that the requested variance is in keeping with the general intent of the zoning bylaw with the recommended conditions of engineering staff. Third, is the proposed variance considered desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and staff are of the opinion that the pool encroachment is desirable for the development of the land with the provided engineering conditions. And finally, the proposed variance being considered minor in nature. Again, staff are of the opinion that the pool encroachment is minor in nature and has minimal impacts to the existing neighborhood streetscape. Additional comments. Building Division preliminary zoning review was completed on August the 9th, 2022. Engineering Division, the application has provided a site plan showing the pool's water edge encroaching 0.286 meters into an existing 1.2 meter wide town sewer easement. The neighboring property to the west also has a 1.8 meter wide easement, which combines to provide 3.0 meter easement that allows the town access to a rear yard catch basin and storm lead located on the adjacent property. The catch basin lead drains to the corner ridge. In future, the town may need to complete maintenance, repairs, or replacement of the rear yard catch basin or lead, and will need to be able to access this infrastructure to complete the works. Based on the above, engineering has no objection with the above noted application with the following condition: that the minor variance approval does not limit or alter the town's existing easement rights, agreement rights, that the property owner will be required to remove any structures or obstructions from the easement lands at any time, that such lands are required by the town to exercise its easement rights. With the removal of any such encroachments, restoration work being the responsibility and at the cost of the property owner, and that such agreement shall be registered on title. Operational services, Parks Operational Services, Public Works, and Central York Fire Services, no comments received at the time of writing the report. York Region, no comments or concerns with the proposed application. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, no comments received. And Electric Utilities, again, no comments or concerns with the application. As I mentioned, there are conditions, largely those, as I've reviewed from town engineering, and that the owner is responsible for paying any fees associated with entering into an agreement with the town in accordance with the town fee bylaws as amended. So with that, I'll welcome the applicants this evening. Good evening. I'll just ask you to state your names and your address for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. My name's Steve Dunn, and our address is 174 Corner Ridge Road in Aurora.
And I'm Dina Julius.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
And yeah, I'll ask Stephen then if is there any presentation or any items that you would like to bring to our attention at this time?
No, we enjoyed hearing the endorsement. What we just wanted to share was when we moved on to Corner Ridge Road 6 years ago, we did not have a adjoining fence between us neighbors. We had a fantastic neighbor to the west, Diana, who's provided the Committee of Adjustment with a letter of support. And unfortunately, at the time of construction, there was no visual property alignment for the pool company to see, and he seemed to have inverted the survey where the neighbor to the west has a greater property line of exactly the 30-centimeter difference. She has the 1.8 and we have the 1.5. So human error day one was completely to blame. I mean, everything was unintentional, and that's where we are today.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that explanation, actually. I find that very helpful, and that sort of thing does happen. It's not totally uncommon, but it was a good thing to have caught. I note then that there are no delegations from the public with regards to this application. So I will then turn to members of the committee for any comment or question on this application. Steve, see your hand up there, so please go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I think I'll keep this, I'll be able to keep this very brief, and thank you to the applicants for the explanation. That was going to be my first question, is how this would happen. So that avoids one question. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to just, if I may, pose a question to staff. I've read the report. I think you did a very good summary. I'd just like to make sure I understand, you know, to what the staff report is saying and what the conditions are saying, which if I can, to staff. So if I understand the situation here, should we approve this variance tonight, essentially the town does not anticipate any challenges accessing the catch basin or the storm sewer lead. However, should they require that additional, we'll call it 0.3 of a meter that is being encroached on the easement, then it is solely, then the applicants would need to ensure that there is that access at their cost, and they bear all of the responsibility for removing any structures on that encroached portion of the easement. Is that a fair, and then this will be put on title per the condition, and that once again are costs to be borne by the applicants, right?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct. As part of the conditions, there would be an agreement required, and in the event that any, if access is required, by the town to the property, in the event that any concrete or anything needed to be removed, that would be the responsibility of the homeowner.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Sean. And through you, Mr. Chair, if I could just ask the applicants, and you're okay, you've read these conditions, you're aware of the implications, and you're okay with the conditions as outlined in the staff report?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I would just note that my understanding is that, and maybe through you, Mr. Chair, to staff again, my understanding is that the neighbor also has an easement, and that would be the same neighbor that has provided support for this application, correct?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is an easement on the neighboring property. In terms of if it was that neighbor who provided a letter of support, I'd actually just like to defer to Peter, our Secretary Treasurer, to confirm that. I'm sorry, I just I can't recall the property address.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, the neighbor who has submitted the letter of support is, as you suggested, the neighbor with the easement.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Through you, Mr. Chair, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Linda, any comments or questions?
Hi, nice to meet everybody. No, I'm good. I was wondering how that all happened. You explained that, and those are pretty strict rules to follow by. And if I hear that correctly, that remains on the deed of the property. So if they were to sell this property, the same thing happens to the next person that owns the place, that carries on with the property, not with the applicants per se. And I just want to make sure I got that right and that's understood.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, that is correct. The approval would run with the property and yeah, would be registered to title for sure.
Okay, I'm good then. Thank you very much.
Terrific. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, I was just going to note, thank you for keeping the gates locked. Number one, because I tried to get a better view. There was nobody home, so I took some liberties with your neighbor and just had a quick look. One of the things that I did note is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on the side where the encroachment is and the easement is, there are some ABS white pipes that are coming out from the back, and I assume that feeds a waterfall feature or some kind of a circulatory feature on the pool or into the pool. And those are the way it sits right now. Is that finished? Is that the way it's going to remain?
That is the finished plumbing for the water feature. Yeah.
Okay, and I had it right. It is a water feature.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would assume that, for example, if a machine had to get down there and they could wiggle around it but couldn't clear those pipes might need to be removed, and you would have to undertake that work and then
Yep.
have them put back.
Yeah.
In the event that occurs. One of the things I also note on that side is, at the moment, your neighbor seems to be pretty free and clear for a much wider area than that 1.5 meters there. So, everything else being equal, and keeping good relations, if again anything had to happen, and in order to avoid you incurring some costs, they might just say, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just repairing a little bit of grass," which I would assume the town would do if they had to get in there. So it looks like those types of things and the implications of the fact that there are easements there shouldn't really pose too much of a problem should we approve this. But yeah, I appreciate the clarity on what those pipes were.
Anytime.
I don't have any problems with this application, with the understanding that, and thank you, Steve, for the clarity on the registering on title, so that everybody is very clear on that as far as conditions go. So with that, I'll look to the committee then for a motion on the application. Linda, see your hand up. Please go right ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, and through the chair, I move that MV 2022-35 at 174 Corner Ridge Road be approved for minor variance as indicated in the staff report, subject to the conditions on Appendix A.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Steve. Calling the question, all of those in favor? And you have 3 yeses. Congratulations, that is approved. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
are very
much.
welcome. Thank you for
I
being
couldn't
here.
get in either today. I was looking over the fence and around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
At least it was locked.
Okay,
Okay.
looks nice.
Yeah. We're very safe people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, glad it was locked.
Great. I'll bid you both
Thank
a
you.
very pleasant evening, and thank you for being here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very
Have a
much.
great night. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
You as well.
Thank you.
All right, well done. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 6.2. And this is minor variance application for Constantine Rallis at 12 Buchanan Crescent. And this is minor variance 2022-36. The applicant is requesting relief from the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the development of a cabana with a gross floor area of approximately 308.0 square feet or 28.6 square meters, and a building height of 8.0 feet or 2.4 meters. The following relief from the requirements of the town's zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended is as follows. A, section 7.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum exterior yard setback of 6.0 meters. The applicant is proposing a cabana which is 2.7 meters to the exterior side yard property line. The town of Aurora, in the proposal, the town of Aurora received a complaint regarding the existing cabana, which is in non-compliance with the exterior side yard setback requirement of the zoning bylaw. In response to this, the owner submitted the subject minor variance application in order to bring the structure into compliance. The town's building division confirmed that a building permit would be required. The applicant's stated reason for not complying with the zoning bylaw states as follows. I was unaware of the zoning bylaw requirements pertaining to corner lot facing road and was under the impression that I was complying by all of the rules and regulations. Unfortunately, I started construction and now unable to move my structure. Planning comments. A, with regards to the proposed variance meeting the general intent of the official plan, the existing cabana for which the subject variance has been applied is modest in scale. No negative impacts are anticipated to result. It is therefore the opinion of planning staff that the proposed variance maintains the general intent of the official plan. With regards to the proposed variance meeting the general intent of the zoning bylaw, staff are of the opinion that the requested variance will not result in any conflicts from a building separation standpoint, especially when considering that the exterior side yard is not facing another neighboring residential property, but instead a public thoroughfare, being Buchanan Crescent. Planning staff are of the opinion that the proposed minor variance maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw. With regards to the variance being considered desirable for the appropriate development of the land, staff consider the cabana as proposed to be consistent with the surrounding area from a built form and character standpoint. Planning staff have included a condition of approval requiring the owner to submit a site grading plan prepared by a professional engineer or qualified engineering professional demonstrating such to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development Services. Given the condition, which is being added, the nature, scale, and location of the cabana, staff have no concerns. Based on the above, staff are of the opinion that permitting the subject variance is an appropriate development and use of the land. With regards to it being considered minor in nature, the cabana itself is also screened by a wooden fence which borders the rear yard, meaning that it is not overly visible from streetscape. As a result, any potential impacts in regards to privacy are mitigated. Staff are of the opinion that given the location, scale, and height, that the cabana is not considered to be visually obtrusive. Finally, the cabana is non-habitable space and therefore cannot be utilized as a separate detached residential unit. Staff consider the variance to be minor in nature. Additional comments provided. Engineering services have no objection to the above noted variance application, provided a site grading plan prepared by a professional engineer or qualified engineering professional is submitted to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development Services, demonstrating that the existing drainage pattern shall be maintained, and any changes in grading due to the proposed site works shall not cause any adverse impacts on adjacent neighboring properties. Second, that roof drain downspouts of the proposed structure shall be located away from the property line to avoid direct outlet of water onto adjacent property. Building Division preliminary zoning review conducted, which identified the subject variance and did not comply and did not confirm any zoning non-compliance was identified. There's some wording in there that doesn't quite add up. I apologize. Accessibility advisor, the town's accessibility advisor has confirmed that they have no comments on the subject variance application. Traffic analyst, operational services, parks, Central York Fire Services, no comments provided at the time of writing of the report. Legal Services has no comments. Regional Municipality of York completed its review of the above minor variance and has no comment. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, no comments provided. Electric Utilities reviewed the proposed variance application, have no objections to its approval, subject to their standard construction conditions. Of note, public correspondence the written submissions that were received at the time of writing of this report expressed no objection to the requested variance. And I understand that there have been others since the time of writing of the report. And I will also mention in Appendix A, conditions 1 and 2, which relate to those conditions of the Appendix B and the engineering conditions as well. So with that, that's basically my summary of the application. And I'll welcome the applicant this evening. It is Mr. Constantine Rallis, I believe is how it's pronounced. I also believe he's joined by John Scaff and Wasim Iraqi, both engineers. So Mr. Rallis, please, if you have a presentation or any comments you wish to make, please go ahead. The floor is yours. I'll just ask you to, again, confirm your name and your address. And also to join us on the live feed. I'm just seeing a delay there, so. So it looks like he is trying to connect to the audio here. So he cannot hear or perhaps even speak here. Mr. Ellis, it does look like you're trying to connect. I'll ask Linda. Are the other two gentlemen able to join the meeting?
Hi, Tom. Sorry. To you, Mr. Chair. Only John is here. John Scaff. Wasim Haraki is not here.
I see. Is John Scaff able to join us live?
He is with us, but I don't see that he has his microphone on either.
Okay.
I'll message him.
So, John, if you can hear me, I'll ask you to turn your mic on. And if you can, join us on the live feed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Poor Constantine, I guess he couldn't find the audio.
Yeah, John, it looks like he is trying there. On my screen, I can see he looks like he's trying to.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I don't know what's wrong with the computer. I had to phone in.
No problem. So for the record, Mr. Ellis, if you could get your name and your address, and if there is a presentation you would like to make, I'll ask you to go right ahead.
Okay, I do have a written something I wrote up that I'd like to read. Okay. So to you, dear Mr. Chair, the committee and neighbors. My name is Constantine Rallis. I have lived at 12 Buchanan Crescent for almost 10 years now. I love my neighborhood and living in Aurora. I plan on living here for many more years to come. I saved money and planned for a long time to install a pool along with a cabana structure in my yard for the enjoyment of my family. I proceeded to obtain what I believe to be all permits and paid all and any fines necessary to begin construction. I would like it to be known at this point that in no way, shape, or form during this process did I purposely attempt to circumvent or bypass any rules, bylaws, or regulations. That was never my intent. Unfortunately, this issue regarding the cabana structure setback was brought to my attention after the work began. Nevertheless, once the town informed me of the bylaw specification and keeping in good faith, I took steps to rectify the problem immediately, heeded the town's direction, and halted the construction for over a period of 2 months' time. However, concerned about preserving my investment regarding materials, etc., and due to the changing weather and coming winter, I, along with my contractor, made the decision to winterize the structure. This included installing a roof and insulating the walls. The cabana is far from being completed, but at least safe from the elements for now. The feedback from most of my neighbors has been very positive regarding the work I've done to my property. I hope to get the committee's support and approval regarding this minor variance application so that I, along with family, can continue to enjoy my home for many years to come. Now, I'm adding this part to my written statement. However, after meeting with a couple of the committee members on my property earlier today, there is confusion regarding measurements, which are based on my existing survey. I will get a new survey and then proceed. So I am asking the committee for a deferral of this minor variance application until I get this completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. And for the benefit of yourself and members of the public who are with us this evening, it does happen on occasion where members of the committee during their site visits will, through either requesting access to the property or by circumstance, run into the owner or applicant or even members of the community. Members of the Committee of Adjustment, through its own practices and generally accepted practices throughout the province of Ontario, are not encouraged to interact with applicants or members of the public during their site visits. And the reasons behind that are that we as a committee operate on the basis of the applications that come before us and the information that's provided. The reason for not interacting is so that the members are not persuaded in a positive or negative way by either the applicant or by members of the public. I can, for the record, while I was on site and while Steve was on site, again, the applicant in his reference to meeting with members of the committee, the meeting, it wasn't really a meeting. It was by circumstance that he drove up. There is a mailbox, community mailbox on the side of his property, and he actually pulled up and emptied his mailbox and asked who we were and what we were doing there. And we actually asked him if he was the property owner. So there was some interaction, but I can tell you and guarantee that there was no lobbying of any kind, no suggestion of why we should or shouldn't approve his minor variance. And I do believe that there was someone from the public who also was doing the same thing and participated in a very brief discussion. Again, not trying to sway myself or Steve in any way, shape, or form. So I put that on the record just as information at this point. We have a request, members of the committee, from the applicant to defer to a future meeting so that measurements can be reviewed and confirmed. And I believe that would be something that would be supported. The reasoning for that is that certainly there was some confusion on site based on the drawings or the plan that we have, which was not a survey, not an official survey, for us for myself and for the other member to question the information that we had been provided with. And to that point, I believe staff might have also made reference to the absence of a survey. I think, Sean, if you're able to provide some information in that regard as well.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, that is correct. Staff did have a discussion with the applicant and basically said the only way to determine with absolute accuracy, complete accuracy, is to have a survey done. So in the absence of that, I mean, we're unable to determine, with absolute 100% accuracy, if the setback that's been provided on the plans and the application form is actually accurate. So yeah, I'm in support of this. I think it's a great idea. I think it's the best path moving forward.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate your input on that. So with that, without then going to the public, we do have a request from the applicant to defer. I'll look to members of the committee. If the committee is prepared to put a motion forward, and then I'll come back. If not, we can move forward with public input and comment and make our own assessment, whether we wish to defer on our own basis or deny or approve the application. So with the applicant making the request, I'll look to the committee then for a motion. Linda, thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, I move that MV 2022-36 at 12 Buchanan Crescent be deferred for a minor variance as indicated in the staff report to a further meeting date.
Terrific. To a future date. So I'll look to the committee for a second.
Future.
Good. Steve, yes, thank you for the second. And so I'll call the question. All of those in favor of the motion to defer? And that carries. Thank you very much. And Mr. Rallis, I appreciate that that you are taking the steps to make sure that the information that we do have is correct. And if not, then to come forward at a future date, which could be as soon as the next meeting, depending on how quickly you can resolve the outstanding questions that we have. And I'll remind the public that so the committee has approved a deferral of the application. It will be coming back. And with that, what happens is there is a recirculation of information that might change from what you have already seen. And from that perspective, the committee will then reconvene at a future date. As I said, could be as early as next month. It may be further than that, but it will have to come back because there appears to be a requirement for a variance here. So look for notification on the property and look for notification following the standard process that the town currently follows for any minor variance. So with that, Mr. Rallis, thank you very much for your comments and your suggestion to defer. And I'll wish you a very pleasant evening.
Same to you. Same to the committee members. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I'll then look next on the agenda for any new business arising from either members of the committee or staff. Seeing none from members of the committee. Sean or Peter, anything from your side of the desk?
Through you, Mr. Chair, nothing from me.
Perfect.
Through you, Mr. Chair, nothing from me either.
Thank you very much. So with that, I'll look to the committee then for a motion to adjourn. Linda?
I've been doing all the talking tonight, it seems like. Okay, through the chair, I move that the meeting be adjourned.
And I'll call the question. All of those in favor of adjournment. And we are